What is up, dreamers, and welcome to the Audacity to Heal podcast. I am your host, Murletta Jammer, and you might know me in these digital streets as the professional dreamer. If you're joining for the very first time, this isn't just any podcast. This, my friend, is a place where dreams meet reality, where stories of healing take center stage, and where every moment is a celebration of the audacity it takes to heal. Life has a way of throwing us curveballs, and trust me, your girl has navigated some unexpected turns herself. But through it all, it has unearthed a resilience in me that I truly didn't know that I had. For me, my journey became a canvas painted with those twists and turns, and what led to an even deeper connection to my faith. I've come to understand that healing and renewal aren't just words, nor are they a linear path. Healing isn't about the destination, but it is everything to do with the journey. I look forward to sharing my journey intimately, authentically, and yes, sometimes hilariously. So whether you're tuning in on your morning commute, joining us live, or discovering us in the wee hours of the night, I want you to know that healing is an art, and you are a masterpiece in the making. With that said, there will be tears, lots of laughter, wisdom, and a whole lot of healing. This, my friend, is the Audacity to Heal, where we are audacious enough to believe in healing, boldly standing in our truths, and unapologetically pursuing the life we deserve. So, if you're ready, I'm honored to have you aboard this incredibly audacious ride. Today's guest is a woman on a mission, literally. Precious K. Williams is a wife, mother of three, international speaker, wellness coach, and the founder of Simply Passionate Life, a movement created to help moms who feel overweight, overwhelmed, and just plain over it. After breaking the burnout cycle in her own life, Precious answered the call to help women release the spiritual, mental, and physical weight that keeps them from living fully and flourishing in purpose. She's a first-generation American and the proud daughter of Ghanaian immigrants, carrying a story that's rich in resilience, legacy, and healing. With a bachelor's degree in health science from Howard University and a master's in counseling from Georgia State, Precious brings both lived experience and professional insight into her work. She's also the creator of the Generational Health Cohort, a quarterly wellness program rooted in her signature LIFT framework designed to help women reclaim their wellness with intention, joy, and sustainability. Precious doesn't just talk about healing. She lives it, teaches it, and empowers others to pursue it boldly. Her passion is contagious, and her story reminds us that healing is not just possible, it's necessary. So settle in, dreamers, take a deep breath, open your heart, and the next episode of the Audacity to Heal podcast starts right now. What is up, dreamers? I am so excited today to be back with you for another episode of the Audacity to Heal podcast. And if you've seen the intro, you know that we are standing firm on our title for this episode, which is called It Stops With Me. And no better than my special guest to bring it home and preach to the choir here about this topic than my special guest, Miss Precious K. Williams. Audience applause.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you for your yes to be a part of the Audacity to Heal community. I just want you to say hello to the people in your own way, and let us know where you are from and just give us a little sneak peek because we're going to dig into all things Precious K. Williams today.
Yes, we're finna dig in. Well, first and foremost, I'm a Jesus girl. I love him with my whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. Um, I started coming to church like when I was 10. My mom is a late convert to the faith. And when I tell you I was saved in 12th when I was 12 years old, like I was helping lead Bible study, telling people about Jesus in 5th grade. So that's the first
evangelist.
That's the first main thing about me. But the K stands for Kofi. My family's from Ghana, West Africa. I always say Chicago raised me, Ghana bred me. Howard trained me in
Come
Atlanta.
on, Howard. Woo-hoo.
So I have an eclectic mix of like Knuck If You Buck, Chicago Mass Choir, and all in between, a little bit of Afrobeat, right? So you're gonna get an eclectic mix with me. But what do they say? Ratchet and righteous at the same time. But
Come
no,
on now,
seriously, no,
Saints.
seriously, no, seriously, holistically, I'm passionate, very, very passionate about women's health, very, very passionate about mothers and beating the burnout cycle. And so when we talked about um, it ends with me or stops with me, it's everything that's been passed down to us, everything that we've been told that we're supposed to accept, everything that we go in saying it's hereditary. Oh, well, my mom used to do it that way and her mom used to do it that way. Those generational things, that habits and trends that we tend to accept, that we don't have to accept. And so in today and all the questions and just in our pre-call and all that, I firmly believe that someone will get set free from accepting something from their past that someone told them had to be a part of their present or their future. You can make a generational impact and change with the decisions you make each day, not just for you, but for your family.
If that don't preach by itself, pray on here. Baby, no. Girl, hold on. I gotta just sit with that because when I was reading your bio and doing my study of your message and what you stand for, as I shared with you when we met the other day, general health starts with healing. And it also takes an audacious attitude about yourself. And it only takes one person to change the legacy of a whole bloodline.
Yep.
And so we are going to dig into that because you are the poster girl, you are the champion of that. I'm gonna just throw out there, y'all, she is a true champion. She set this journey out before she was the mom. So while she is the mommy wellness coach, she made the changes necessary to change the trajectory of her children's life before they were even born, thought of,
Praise
if you
God.
will. So
Praise
I just want you to share a little bit of your journey with the people. Who is Precious K? She done gave us a little bit of the backstory of where some of those roots, but we want to dig in deeper. We want to know a little bit about your upbringing. You're from Chicago, Chi-Town.
Mhm.
Um, and now she is in the ATL. So when she says eclectic, baby, it's you can tell us. I'm from Texas. I've only been here. I've never lived in any other state. So she has had a unique, diverse upbringing in these different parts of the United States. And then she also has the amazing heritage of being, is it West Ghana?
Ghana, yes. West African, yes.
West African. So I just want you to share a little bit about your backstory and your upbringing.
Wonderful. Well, so we'll start with my wellness story, and then we'll start with my backstory, and then we'll start go into my wellness story. So
Okay.
I grew up as the fourth of five children. I'm the first person in my entire family born in the United States. So my mom and dad were born in Ghana. My three older siblings were born in Ghana. They immigrated here like when I was one. So my parents were living here, working on immigration. That's why I'm very passionate about that. We will not go into that right now, but working
Okay.
my older siblings to get here. My mom had me at 40, and then she had my sister at 41. And so she had a lot of miscarriages and had a hard time with conceiving me and my sister. So I grew up kind of knowing, with my name choice, Precious, and just with her story like that. Okay, I'm kind of God has a reason that I'm here, right? So I always had that my parents always put in our head. And then with us being West African, having a like your family honor is huge. Like you could go into somebody's house for a party and they're like, well, behave and don't disgrace your family. Like it literally is so important. Your family name goes with you. And it wasn't just like, oh, go, don't get in trouble. It was more so like, make us look good. And so that was a big thing that I always had, for better or worse, as a part of me growing up. And the better was I did never thought about my life as just about me. I thought about who does it impact and how do you leave a legacy on a daily basis. The negative part, so you can become a people pleaser and you just continue to go in this like rat race of it never being good enough. If anybody has a West African father, it'd be like, is that it? You can get all A's. It's like, but did you get all hundreds? Like there was always another goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward. Oh, last thing about my upbringing, my mom is amazing. She's an entrepreneur. She was a retired cosmetologist, very faithful woman. The generational health I learned from her was spiritual, just knowing that you have faith. If it looks good, if it don't look good, God's gonna make a way. The generational health that I had to unlearn from her is that you work until you can't work anymore. You know, your rest is sleep only. Like you actually sitting down and resting and like relaxing.
Talk about it.
I tell you, I literally never remember. I do not remember my mom resting just to chill outside of eat. I mean, sit on the couch and watch a show. No, my mom did not do that. And so that's something I had to unlearn, that it's not lazy to just to rest, that even Jesus rested. And so as I went into adulthood, and realizing those habits of eating all of the things, I weighed more in ninth grade than I do now. Like being a hefty, hearty, what they would
What was
call
that term that you said your mom
yeah,
would call it? Yeah.
yeah. So I was mama born toss. I had a little bit of everything. I had to unlearn that you don't prioritize your health, that you just, go on autopilot, that as long as you are successful and ambitious, that your actual personal wellness and health don't matter. And yeah, so that's really when I started undergoing my own health journey. I lost 75 pounds. I know we'll get into that before having kids. And it just really started to change, just started realizing like, I really do think there's more to what I'm doing here. Like this is a little bit bigger. In having my children, with each child I had, from marrying my husband, who was a single father, to having our first daughter, to having our second daughter, or our second daughter and our third daughter, it all has literally unfolded. It makes so much sense why God has put me on this journey. So I'm excited to tell y'all more of how that unfolded. I can't answer it all in one question, but
that's good.
It's been pretty. It's been nice to watch, I would say.
See, I love it. And so, raised in Chicago, you go to college. You went to Howard first?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that transition. You said something in just that answer there about how you weighed more in the ninth grade than you do now.
Yeah.
So I was about to go to college, but we got to go back to high school.
Yeah.
What was Precious like in those formative years of identity, dealing with weight?
Yeah.
Were you active in school? Did you play sports?
Yeah. So I'm West African once again. So both my brothers play soccer. One of my brothers almost went to NFL to be a kicker. Like my sister was was a cheerleader, varsity, track, all these things. And I didn't want to play sports. I'm just more of a laugher. You know what I'm saying? I'm a talker. I didn't want nothing to do with it. My brothers saw my body, took one look at my legs, was like, "Oh, you'll be great at soccer." Child, I went out in the back with them once. You understand? And I was like, "Yo, I don't want nothing to do with this." But in high school, I did follow the family business, and I did play soccer for 3 seasons. And it was miserable. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all because of my last name, because my brothers both played. Like I don't want to say they had their names up, because I don't think they had soccer names up. But as far as the soccer program, people knew my brothers, and it was miserable. I was not athletic at all, but I was funny, and I did mathletes, and I did student like government, and I was in AP classes and did diversity training. I was in leadership at my church, so we had like a really big youth ministry on the south suburb. So if you're from Chicago watching this, New Faith Baptist
shout out,
Jam. So we had this, and most of us are still in some type of ministry capacity, which is crazy. So so I was active, and I was the cool friend. Like I was friends with all the jocks. I was friends with all the like nerds. I was friends with all the white girls. I was friends. Like I just was a friendly person.
Right.
So I didn't really have a lot of self-worth issues.
Okay.
As far as just me, but I did know I was heavier, and I did know that being a in a healthy range weight wise was going to take work for me for the rest of my life. Like, and as a mom now, look back at the memories I had of my mom and realize that she had me at 40. So the firm memories I have, she was 50 something, like
Wow.
I'm not surprised that like the most I saw her do was go for a walk, and then when I
Mhm.
would get heavier inside, she would try to stop buying as many pound cakes.
Unhealthy foods.
Yeah, but at that point, the damage was done.
Right.
Maybe get us a Curves membership. We would go for about 6 weeks, and then we would stop. Yeah,
Right.
I had those habits, and when I went to college, it was when I was thinking about joining a sorority that I was like, man, I've heard this really intense, so I started working out. I was a health science major because I wanted to go into physical therapy. Oh, so much. You can ask my life story. But
Oh, I love it.
the
We
truth
got
of the
time.
matter was I knew health was important. And I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to go into helping people heal. But I just didn't know how to do it for myself. Right.
Wow.
And so once I started to apply what I knew to myself and to bring it to the faith component, which I already generationally had, it
Mhm.
was like, okay, it's bigger than my initial wanting to lose weight so I would not be overweight when I was pregnant, or wanting to lose weight so that I could potentially be in a sorority so that I can, keep up with the girls, or wanting to lose weight so I can finally have a long-term boyfriend. Like, how about I want to be healthy because God gave me this body and I only have one, you
Ooh.
know? And that's the shift. That's the entire shift that happened. And that's the basis. I don't think I've ever been asked to go through my life story like that. So I need to work with a coach on how to consolidate that story. But
No,
the
I love
reality is, like, it was a lot growing
it.
up in virtually two cultures and
Yes.
being who you are in various environments. But what I am grateful for is that it all plays into like my unique value, when I'm working with women, is that I can understand where a lot of people may come from.
Mhm.
I'm not, you might see me online and see what I do, but I am way more athletic approaching 40 than I was at 15, So yeah.
It's incredible. And talk about the mindset shift that you recognize in your college years as you started this journey, that it's bigger than just the pounds. It's bigger than just I want to look good for this season. This is something bigger. And
Yeah.
that speaks to something within you.
Yeah.
And I think I would say, based on what you shared about your actual legacy from your mother, which is the spiritual aspects of things, that was what was being pulled out of you. Like, that spiritual side of you recognized that this temple is something that is far more important than just these pounds on the scale.
For
Like,
sure.
I've got to be able to um, carry out the mission, and you talked about that.
Yeah.
And that's I guess the shift there. You realize this was bigger than just the pounds.
Yeah.
So let's go further into that. You're in college, you're at Howard, the culture, the vibes. Were there struggles that you experienced or that you can recall as you're making that shift and you're doing these things that you're learning and trying to apply them to your life?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I lost 25 pounds between like freshman and senior year of college, right? I
Mhm.
did end up doing that sorority. I'm no longer affiliated, so
Okay.
that also has something to do with some of the weight loss.
Some of the weight loss.
But but I lost. I think I did lose about 25 pounds before I even went out for the sorority,
Okay.
and then of course lost about 15 more. So by the time in college, I lost about 40 pounds. So by
Okay.
the time I graduated from college, I was slim. I was about the size I am now, maybe a
Okay.
little bit smaller. But come to struggles, it was still I still hadn't tackled my relationship with food. I still hadn't tackled my relationship with performance. I still hadn't tackled my relationship with people pleasing and doing things for others. Um, I didn't tackle my ability to say no. I didn't have no boundaries. I would, if someone needed me, and that's the Julie Kofi in me. Okay, someone needed me, I was there, and that was that. And it wasn't, it's nothing wrong with being a server, but there is something wrong with denying your needs for other people's wants.
Ooh,
And
talk.
I was a master of that.
Mm.
I was a
Yeah.
master of denying my needs for other people's wants. If somebody wanted something or they would like me to do something, but I needed to rest or I needed to sleep or I needed to exercise or I needed to not go have drinks with that person, it would be that was secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So after I graduated college to when I met my husband, a little bit before I met my husband, I had ballooned back up. I had got to size 20. I have like one or two pictures at my sister's graduation from grad school. And so it was not grad school, from undergrad. It was and I was in a relationship that was not necessarily toxic in what you think of abusive, but just was very codependent. I was just happy to be in love, honey. Fresh
And
into Atlanta.
enjoyed it. Oh, you were
Okay,
fresh
I
in
was still a
Atlanta.
sorority girl, and he was an alpha, and I thought this was gonna be my, you know,
You're
love story,
forever the love of your life.
child. And anyway, so when that ended, my sister moved to Atlanta. I really had a come to Jesus, like a come to Jesus meeting, but really a come to precious meeting. And I just realized, like, okay, I'm in my mid-20s. That's so young, right? Hindsight. But I was just like, if I do, I'm out of this relationship, he's not the one. Okay. So I'm out of this relationship, he's not the one. Now I'm 245 pounds. What are we doing now? Like, what is it? Like, this is not gonna work.
Right.
And I began to like dig deep and like, Lord, please help me. And that's when it became the spiritual tap in. Like, Lord, please help me. I don't want this to be my baseline. This needs to be the highest, heaviest, most unhappy I am in my life. And that was where the journey began. I started with just home workouts. I started, finding communities. Back then, Groupon was a thing. So I was jumping to different gyms and things.
Forgot about
Uh,
Groupon.
yeah, girl, I was on Groupon. Okay. Once again, all that money.
Yes.
The class pass of the 2000s. And so once I met my husband, we went on 2 dates. I said, I'm on a health journey, so we can't go out to eat. Like, we can like do other stuff, but we can't go out to eat. He was like, okay, cool. That's better,
No
better
pressure
for
on
me.
me.
Right.
Yeah.
Better for me. And so, but from before meeting my husband until we got married, I lost 75 pounds. Mm-hmm. And so it was something, it took, by my honeymoon though, my husband was like, please, biscuit, eat this biscuit, girl. Eat this
You getting
biscuit,
too
girl.
small.
Listen, I should send you a picture of me at our wedding so you can see how,
Please.
and the difference between like high
Please.
school, the wedding, and now it's crazy.
Yes.
Once we post this, we'll have a side by side job, but it was
Yes.
okay. Our first wedding anniversary, I was size 6. Okay, I was
Shut
tiny.
up.
Yeah, okay, I'm a 10 now, so I had gotten really small, but it was healthy. I did it the right way.
The right way.
Why am I telling y'all all of this? I'm telling you this because there are so many women listening to this right now who feel like, oh, Precious can do this because, oh, people on the internet do this with this. I'm telling you that Jesus helped me have the audacity to heal those broken places, to restart my journey over and over again, to, after I finally have an ab line, have the audacity to have a child, right? It was so hard. I was like, wait, I know we said after a year of marriage, we're going to try, but I was like, can I get a few more years? Like, right? And so having the audacity as someone with constant focus on their health and wellness and has been dealing with battling weight loss and weight management their whole life, to then say, I'm about to intentionally gain weight. And this is going to be, I've never said this out loud, but I didn't know if it was worth it.
Come
I
on.
said, now, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I've worked really, really hard for this body. What if I can't get it back? Like, what if I don't know what to do? At that point, I already got my master's degree in counseling. So I started to realize that it's a psychology behind what's going on. It's just not just about the carbs and the fats. It's deeper than that.
Yes.
So having my first baby, God blessed her, my first pregnancy, I was already a mom, right? Because we had full custody of our oldest. But it was the weight loss from her was simple. I put everything into place. I ate my vegetables. I slept. I drank my water. I did my kickboxing, and that weight came off. And me and her was, in their thick as thieves, right?
Mhm.
But like I said, there are people who, but the pandemic baby is a whole nother story. We might get to
Oh,
her.
we got to get to her.
That
Talk about
was
it.
a halfway lost journey. But the generational health impact and their decision and the audacity to heal. You cannot look at people online and think you know everything. Do not sell yourself short. I am not someone who was always taking creatine and going to the gym. Like that was not me. I had an encounter with myself and with God that said, listen, I cannot allow my girls to battle the same thing my family has been battling for 4 generations. The women in my family have had this gut. That gut is what it runs in our family. You understand?
Talk about
The
it.
hips is I still accept the hips. They can stay. But
We're not trying to get rid of that.
the hips can stay. But the unhealthy, let's be honest. I know some people on internet gonna be like, girl, but the unhealthy visceral fat that we carry around our midsection that leads
Talk
to
about it.
high blood pressure, heart disease, and heart disease is still the number one killer of black women of women of color in the world, but black women in America. It ain't cute. You're not just thick. Now you can be beautiful at any size. And I tell you one thing, I held it together at all sizes.
Yes.
However, putting forth that intentional effort, not to master your health, not to become a fitness model, just to prioritize your health and say, I'm not going to accept that this runs in my family.
Ooh,
It
let's
stops
talk
with me.
about that because you said something so powerful when we met the other day. We were talking about this concept of generational health. And I've even heard you speak about it in other platforms about how we emphasize generational wealth and how those assets run out and have the potential to run out, but your bloodline is something that will continue on,
Yeah.
and taking that intentional focus and putting it into generational health. But you, when we were talking the other day, talked about the fact that when you go to the doctor, how you have to list off these different familial hereditary diseases and illnesses, and how that is not the story for your children
Yeah.
because of the choice that you made. And oh, that gets me all choked up because it only takes one person, as I said to kick this off, to change a generation
Yeah.
forward. And on another episode, we talked about healing forward. So often, sometimes in our healing journeys, as we're unpacking the things of our past, we want to try to go back, but we kind of miss the significance of healing forward and
Yeah.
how we're changing the trajectory of our bloodline.
Yeah.
That's heavy, that's real. And to see it be, to have an example like you who have children who now, when they go to the doctor, can say, no, heart disease, no, all from intentional decisions that you made. And as you said, it's possible for everyone.
Yeah.
You didn't come from this healthy background, because sometimes I think we put that delusion in our mind, like, well, she had to have come from health, her
Yeah.
family was athletic. No, it was a struggle for you, and
Yeah.
it was a choice that you made. And so I want you to just kind of talk about the significance of that, because as I said earlier, you thought about this before you were a mother.
Yeah.
There was something in you that recognized the need. And I'm sure as you're in that gap between the past of what you saw growing up and then thinking about your future, like, what was that? What does that feel like? What was that thought process? And then kind of speak on how you are watching the fruit of that now as you're raising your children.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think a lot of times we stagger ourselves or we stagnate ourselves or we feel stuck because it's really about us. You don't necessarily feel worthy of the how difficult it's going to be. You feel like you're going to fail. You feel like it's not going to work. People are going to see you going yet again on another wellness journey. And when it's centered on you, you most likely will fail. But when it's centered on Christ and on your family and on the impact and on the legacy, you have more of a why. You're not going off motivation. You're not going on vibes and fumes. You understand? Like, I don't work out at 5 and 6 a.m. because I like to work out at 5 and 6 a.m. I
Talk
work at
about it.
5 and 6 a.m. because I like being a happy mom. I like being able to pick up my daughters. I like being able to put her on a piggyback ride and walk up the steps. I need the energy and the fruit of that investment to do the mission that God has called me to do. And so you got to stop thinking about it as it being about you and what you like, about getting ready for summer or for that trip. That's not going to be enough, especially at this big age. If you're a millennial like me, it's not going to be enough. You're just going to buy a bigger size bathing suit. You
Yes.
understand? So it
Talk
has to
about
be
it.
about something deeper. And for me, when we talk about healing forward or healing up, yes, my girls have, and we're going to talk about the fruit of that. My girls stretch in the morning before they get out of bed because they're used to we stretch in the morning, whether I'm here or not. When their dad wakes them up, they're like, "Oh man, I need to stretch." Right? They just believe they're in tune with their body in a way that I'm so grateful for. You know, they say, "Mommy, look at my muscles, and you're so strong," or "Mommy, can I see what you did at the gym?" You know, like they want to see my videos. But then my mom commenting on my Facebook post, because you know those Gen X's, they love it, and the boomers
Come
love
on,
that.
Facebook.
Thank you, Meta. That I'm so glad I'm alive to learn from you, y'all. I that screenshot that I'm never going. That literally is it. I ain't got to come to no other podcast because she's retired in Ghana, going for walks, doing yoga on the beach, prioritizing her health, even being able to retire and move back to Ghana, no matter how much I kicked and screamed, was her taking her turn.
Yes.
Right? My live framework. She said she did everything for us. Literally left her home, her mom. She left everything to come to this country to give us a better opportunity. And when it was time for her, and she had done everything, and her and my dad had did everything they could do, they are enjoying their life in Ghana. And though I'm raising their grandkids by myself, and though I don't like it,
Talk about it.
I'm so proud of her to be able to do what she's passionate about. Because I watched her take decades of her life not doing what she was passionate about, making sacrifices. Everything she had was for us. And so what you don't realize who's going to be impacted by your audacity, just your determination, your decision. Go for that walk, drink that water, go get that counselor, go to the dentist to take care of that tooth that's been bothering you. Whatever you have been putting on the back burner, go get that hobby, right? Tell that child no, so that they can't do what they want because mommy actually needs X, insert here. You don't know who is going to bless. I went out on this journey for me, and now thousands of women have heard this message. Do I get the glory for that? Absolutely not. Because God is still making me embrace the theories too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what makes me different. I'm not somebody who's just arrived. I'm literally coaching myself day in and day out, lightening my load, igniting my spark, embracing a freedom mindset, taking my turn, lifting myself in Christ so that I can build generational health. The things I teach my clients, the things I talk about on these podcasts, these platforms, I have to wake up every morning and be like, all right, kiddo, let's go. Yet another day. So the fruit of it is bigger than you. So if you are on listening to this and you're like, girl, but you don't know, I do. And if I don't know, I don't need to. What has God called you to do? Who has God called you to be? Are you currently in the condition to do that?
Oof.
And if you know you're not, then it is going to require you to get the help you need, tap in with someone who's going to help you see your blind spots, and begin that journey. You will not regret it. I can tell you that. You will not regret it. I have a picture of my baby, like my 1-year-old picture on my desk, because I'm constantly thinking like, dang, she's probably so excited that our life turned out this way. And I make my coaching clients do the same thing, print out a baby picture, because it's like, it's not just about what you feel like doing right now. It's impacting so many. And it may not be on a platform. It could be your neighbor that watches you and your kids go for a walk every day, and now they decide to go for a walk. You just don't
So
know
good.
who's impacted by it. So long story to say that, like, I'm still processing what it means to have gone on this journey. And I'm still having to remind myself it is not about Instagram, and it's not about my bank account, and it's not about my name. It is about Jesus and helping women not settle for what the enemy has told them they have to settle for.
Oh, girl, I got a whole tear just sitting here on the side of my eye because it hits deep. These are things that I think platforms like this, and I'm grateful to have it to bring these messages to women, because oftentimes we feel isolated,
Yeah.
whether it be from lack of community or exposure, and we think that it has to be one way. And so to have someone like you who is leading the forge, and you touched on it, but we're going to talk about it. I want to talk about your framework, but I also want to talk about Simply Passionate Life.
Mm-hmm.
Share with our audience what it is that you are doing and how you are changing women's lives through um, your Moms on a Mission wellness. Talk about all the things.
Awesome. So, when you first start a brand, you just be like, I like this name, right? But so if you think about it, like Frito-Lay, Doritos, that's kind of Simply Passionate Life and Moms and Mission Wellness. So my LLC is Simply Passionate Life LLC. As I work with churches, as I work with corporations, that's pretty much more of the leg of my business I go on. Precious K. Williams and speaking, the message and training in a more formal setting, right? Moms and Mission Wellness it's a baby. It's 3 years old. Right after the pandemic, I got a business coach. Shout out Jasmine Chanel. And we worked to put a framework together to put that story together that you asked me. Mm-hmm. What is it that women come to you for? How do you want to change women's lives? And it came to, I'm on a mission. And it's not just a mom on the mission, it's moms on the mission. How can I take a bit of what it's a little bit of a Paul thing, but I'm not calling myself an apostle. But follow me as I follow Christ. Like imitate me as I imitate Christ. How can we all be on a mission to make a healthier generation? I did a research project in college 20 years ago about heart disease and the mental and the implications of women not seeing it as an issue and how that causes them to be more susceptible to it. 20 years later, it's still the same.
It hadn't changed.
It hasn't changed. What would it look like if 20 years from now, all of our daughters knew the signs of a heart attack? All of our daughters knew that you need to make sure you're walking, drinking your water, that you have to say, no, I cannot go out with you because my bedtime is this time. That sleeping and eating and drinking, like all of these things, if that was just a pattern of our children in our generation, our community. Because we know now about 401ks and savings and having an emergency fund and all of these things. Some people we still
trying to figure it out. Some of us
figure it out, but we know those terms.
Yes.
Right? No one asks you, oh, what's life insurance? I don't know, right? But if you ask somebody, what's your A1C? What's your blood pressure? What's a healthy blood pressure?
Come on.
How much water you should be drinking a day? How can you tell if you're iron deficient? Are you getting enough vitamin D? You're not cranky. You don't have mom brain. You just have a vitamin D deficiency.
Talk about it. Come on. Health science.
I try to tell y'all that this is not a girl that sat in her living room and decided that I wanted to start making fitness videos. Like, I know that my whole life lined up for this moment. And it all comes down to like, how can we change that? And so that's where Moms on a Mission Wellness started. Simply Passionate Life was my brand is the overarching thing that I want to help women and people live passionately and live life to the fullest. In the wellness, Moms on a Mission Wellness is really honed down to like how are we going to break that? How are we going to break through and make that impact? And so I have a coaching program that's 12 weeks. It includes a retreat that just started last year, the Harmony Retreat. And I have a coaching program. I have a free challenge called the Lighten Your Load Challenge, where
Oh,
moms
let's talk
kind of
about
get
it.
a 4-day incubator, little
Mhm,
taste of what the full coaching program looks like.
mhm.
And in that really gives them a little kind of shakes off the rust, because you're unlearning years and decades and generations of mom guilt and mom default parenting and all of that.
Yes.
So how do we do that? And then of course the wellness events and corporate wellness and all of those types of things. So that is the way that I and my company is attacking the problem. Um, yeah, I think that answers your question.
It does, and it leads me to something else that, in your bio, as I was digging, and this ties into scripture. And it's so funny that you mentioned Paul, because one of the things that you talk about is helping women to lift the weight,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be the physical weight or the mental or the spiritual. And so we believe in the word. So we
Come
have
on,
the word,
pull it.
Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, let's put it on the screen. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. If
Yeah.
that ain't the validation of everything
So
that
that's our core scripture for Moms of Mission Wellness. That's the core scripture for for the program, everything. I said Hebrews 11:1, I think earlier, but it's Hebrews 12:1, and that's it. And in that, when I heard that scripture reference, and someone else was talking about a scripture in Matthew about come to me who are weary and heavy
labor.
laden, and I will give
Hmm.
you rest.
Yeah.
So it's all about, it's not about us. This is not about being snatched or snapped back. This is literally what God's vision is for our lives. I like Jackie Hill Perry. I go for a lot of what she talks about.
Hmm.
And she was talking about Christianity being hard. And I
Hmm.
believe that, yes, walking with Christ is a challenge. We will not fit in. We are going to have to be countercultural. But sometimes we choose the wrong hard.
Ooh,
Yeah,
talk about it.
I'm not gonna be liked because I denounce the sorority. I'm not gonna be liked because I can't smoke with you. I'm not gonna be liked because I have a 1 or 2 drink minimum. I'm not gonna be liked because my kids don't spend the night, because of my own values. I'm not gonna be liked because my daughter didn't have social media until she was 15. There's a lot of things that are decisions that we made that I'm not gonna be liked because of it. Christianity is hard.
Yes.
It's not hard where I can't walk a mile. It's not hard that I have to deal with high blood pressure medication. It's not hard where the things that are reversible. Okay, I'm not saying you're not going to have cancer. I'm not saying you're not going to have kidney disease. I'm saying when cancer or kidney disease comes to your doorstep, will you be equipped to fight it? Or is it going to meet somebody who literally took the body in the temple of the Holy Spirit and didn't spend no time nurturing it? You spend more time cleaning your house than prioritizing your own body. You care what your house look like. You care what the church look like. And then the church got to be perfect. The pews got to be perfect. And then after church, y'all serving fish, fried fish, and bread. Not a piece of vegetable in there. We picked the wrong heart.
Talk about it.
So I agree that the road is narrow and we're gonna have trouble in this life. We're gonna have trouble and tribulation. I got that. I know. I see it every day. I'll be like, Lord, why?
Amen.
But I don't want that type of trouble.
Right.
And I don't have to add more trouble to it.
Yes.
Motherhood isn't gonna be rainbows. Yeah, you're gonna have to sacrifice, but do you have to sacrifice every day? You telling me you don't have to have no hobbies? Even Jesus fished.
Come
Like,
on.
what you
Talk
mean? He even took a nap. He even went to the mountaintop to pray. And you try to tell me you so important that you can't have a hobby? You can't have no free time?
talk about
And so it's some things that we got to stop carrying that weight. We
it.
are
Yes.
surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. Let us lay aside the pride, the martyr syndrome, the decisions to do it all ourselves, those weights and sins that we cling to. Let us lay aside being an idol for our kids. We can never go anywhere or do anything because they need us and we are their everything. Let us lay aside those weights and sin, because some of those good things you think you're doing are still rooted in pride, and run with endurance, because this is a race. I want to be here, if God wills me, and be mobile for a long time.
Yes.
And you can't God's sovereignty your way out of some of the decisions that you're making.
Yes.
God has a plan for me. He had a plan for me. But if I had not listened and been obedient and heeded his instructions, I would have my kids and my husband and myself would have a completely different lifestyle.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that is our core scripture. I'm so glad that you pulled that out. And I'm so
Yes.
thankful. And I know it sounds harsh, but it's really a sister moment. Like, and I have to remind myself of that too. When I'm going to all these events, okay, and they have all the free beverages, okay, and they got margaritas, I also have to decide, is this worth it? Is this a wait and sin I'm choosing for this? You know what I'm saying?
See?
So
Yes.
don't think I'm coming from a high and mighty, I've got it together.
Self-righteous.
No, I'm over here trying to do the same thing.
Yes. And as you said, it's a daily, even Paul talks about the crucifying of our flesh daily. And I love that you always preface that this is something you're still actively working on. This ain't a precious has arrived. I'm
Right.
walking this thing out. And as you're working with your clients, you're walking this thing out. You're showing up every day, y'all. She be in that gym. I'm trying to be a gym girly this year. I'm stepping my toe in there, but
Come on, girl.
I'm trying to have my she fit with the
Girl,
high
I got a
waist
code for
tight.
you. I got a code for you. It's either Precious K. Williams or Mom's the Mission. One of the two. It'll work for She Fit. Girl, I got a code for you. I got
I'm
the
trying
code.
to be a gym girly. Like that is the vision. That is this phase of my healing journey is
Yeah.
getting out there and doing that. Starting on the treadmill. I ain't got to.
Listen.
I'm wanting to eat them weights up like Precious be eating them weights, y'all.
But you heard what I said, guys. And that's one thing that being a wellness coach really is a blessing. I pray that in 5 years, women will have wellness coaches like women have doulas, right?
Ooh, that's good.
But it's about starting. It's not about mastering. I told y'all when I started, I was doing home workouts, Zumba. You understand? Me and Zumba, Taibo, Insanity, all these like home workout videos because I had gym intimidation. I didn't want to go to gym when I'm overweight and I can't fit. I don't know how to do this stuff. Right? So I had to get some of that weight off first for me. And that's why my coaching program, we have guest trainers, we have home workouts, like because everyone's not going to do what I do.
Yeah.
And my former self didn't do what I do, right? You have to start somewhere. So yes, ma'am, start there. Because once you get there, you get the appetite for it. Get the appetite for it. And then when you get better at that, then when you go to the next level, you'll be prepared. You'll be fit for that level. But if you go in hard and hurt yourself, now here we go. Now we derail, and now it's like I don't want to do this no more.
And have I done that? Yes. Knees be toe up out for a whole month.
No.
Like I just got started.
No, it is a journey. That's why once
is.
women come into my program, yes, it's 12 weeks, but they have lifetime access. So I have moms that did my program 3 years ago and still come in the app. Be like, girl, I gained some weight. I'm like, it's all right, sweetheart. Come on back in here. And that is they're able to come back in, post their meals, get their motivation, get the devotionals that we post. Like they're still able to lock back in once. And our tagline or our saying is once mom's in the mission, always mom's in the mission. Like you're not just cast out like, oh, you did that 4 cohorts ago. No, come on back in, still have access to the workouts and things like that because we need community. So yeah, you gotta start somewhere and it takes years. Like the things I'm doing now, I finally locked in my brain that I am, my trainer said this to me last year and I ignored him, but he's right. I am no longer, I can't keep going back to, I weighed more in 9th grade than I weigh now. Like the big girl, I love her. She got me here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not her no more. And I don't want to be cast out by my thick community. I feel like I am still big girl at heart. what you gonna do? Go, big. When that
I'm
came
so
out, I
hungry.
was like, damn, do you understand? Do you understand? Okay, that was my jam. And so I don't want to, what you mean? I'm still curvy, you know.
Right.
But I locked in, like, this is my athletic era. I'm doing things now that are more on the athletic training end for me, while still helping moms who are starting their wellness journey. And so if you're looking at me, if you leave this and you go look at my stories, like, no, I can't be doing what that's not what my program consists of. I am in my athletic, I'm in my pull-up, learning how to do pull-ups and stuff like
Ooh.
that I
Yeah.
never, ever could have ever thought I would do. That's the journey I'm on. I help you start your journey where you need to start it at and be consistent where you can be consistent at. And that's important when selecting someone to help you. You can get in there and someone's automatically taking you and pushing you past where you are ready for. They need to challenge you, but if they're pushing you past what you're ready for, that's a very high likelihood that you are going to backslide, as we used to say.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the unique piece or key component of your program, that you are meeting people where they are. Because I know I've worked with a trainer before, and again, like, you're not, I'm not ready to start doing that yet. I can feel, it's one thing to push somebody, but it's another thing to get them to where you're doing something that's just beyond their ability. And therefore, I'm ignoring your text because
Yeah.
you pushed me out of enjoying this or going on the journey. So
Yeah.
I love that about your program. You gave us a slight little teaser about your challenge, but I want you to plug that in right here and tell us about the challenge.
Lighten Your Load Challenge is a 4-day live experience where you get in with me and other women who's taking that journey to work through what's overwhelming you, what's on your plate. Have you had a moment to actually talk to God about the things you're doing? Because there's some things that you're doing and stressing yourself out over that God doesn't even care about.
Ooh,
Let's be completely honest.
talk about
What
it.
does your home look like? What are the routines that you need to put into place so that you can begin your wellness journey? So many women are picking up a meal plan and a trainer, and you haven't even realized, look and see where you're going to put that time, where you're going to make time to meal prep, where you're going to make time to go to the gym. You do everything at the house, right? And so women look at me like, oh, you're just married an amazing man. He does bedtime every night and he helps with the kids. He wakes the kids up every morning. I'm like, yeah, he's amazing. His mama raised a good son, but we didn't always do it that way.
Ooh, talk about
We had to come to what marriage looked like for us, what parenting looked like for us. And in doing so, that did give us both space to be individuals.
it.
And so it's a journey. So the Lighten Your Load Challenge gives you a little bit of that head start so that when you do start a coaching program with me, you're not starting, from couch to 5K. And so if when with my coaching program, those run in cohorts. So we will also have a cohort in April for moms. So if you're listening to this and you want to go straight into the cohort, no problem. Now that we have the Lighten Your Load Challenge, we'll most likely give women that pre-work, right? Here are the things you need to do, and here's the support you need before you go into the program. And that program is live, so it's 8 weeks live coaching with a small group of women on my framework, which is the lift framework, and really helping you get your whole life together. Yes, all of my 100% of my clients increase their sleep and energy level. Yes, the majority of my moms lose 15 to 30 pounds in the 8 weeks working with me, but the biggest wins are not that. Buying new houses, applying for new jobs, moving cross country, starting new businesses. Your life will change once you decide to prioritize your well being. You will not be the same. You will not be able to accept the same things you're accepting now when you start because then you start realizing, like, I'm that girl. What am I doing? Why am I here? Why am I accepting this when God's already shown me I can have this? And it's not things. It's just a life fulfilled, right? And so that 8 week process, yes, you will prioritize your health. Yes, I will give you meals and a very holistic and devotionals and holistic experience, but be prepared to change. Be prepared to see life differently. Be prepared to your friends to be like, you move a little different and do are you trying to come with me or right? And I'm a happily married, been married 12 years in April. So it's not uh this independent, forget everybody type experience. It's a how about we give the people in our lives a better framework on how to treat us? How about
Yes.
we help them care for us so that we can care for them out of a space of love and joy instead of a place of regret and obligation.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I said a lot, but the coaching program and the challenge are both inroads to working with me. And once again, if you see this after a challenge has ended and you want to go straight into our coaching program, that absolutely is perfectly fine because you get that 8 weeks of live coaching, some one-on-one sessions included with that, and then a retreat. Gosh, so much. The retreat is like my baby. When I was burned out and I wanted to drive away, I decided that once I got better, I would create something that moms wouldn't have to go through that alone. And so, after spending some years in my coaching program and growing that, we had our inaugural retreat last year, and it was a blessing for sure. And so, um, now, it's all encompassing. We want those women to go through that journey, but then we also want them to have that time away to pour into themselves.
I love that. And for those of our so the retreat, is that in Atlanta or is it
It's in
somewhere
Georgia.
different?
It's in
It's in Georgia.
Georgia. So it's between Atlanta and South Carolina.
Okay.
Um, and we have toyed with moving it like the different locations. We'll see.
Yeah.
But right now it is in Georgia.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love the approach to the challenge and even your philosophy because I know you're shifting people's mindsets right now with
Mhm.
the fundamental or the foundation of your framework, which
Yeah.
is, as you said, we always want to jump straight to the meal prep. We always want to jump straight to the go get the trainer.
Yeah.
But then you haven't fixed your life
Yeah.
around how this is all going to fit. And
Yeah.
we've been there. I've been there. Like, and
Yeah.
that's again why I'm so grateful for wisdom and for this season of my life to where I can say, okay, we might need to move some things. We got to move some things around in order for this to be sustainable. And
Hmm.
so providing that type of foundation for women, because a lot of times we don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And so you're walking with women in that process through the challenge.
Yeah.
So if, they're not in the challenge and they go into the cohort, is there a component that also deals with that too,
Yeah.
if you go straight into the cohort?
So what's so funny is that I used to do challenges all the time when Simply Passionate Life was my primary platform.
Mhm.
And then when we launched Moms in Mission Wellness and started doing cohorts, honey, I was rinsing and repeating them cohorts. Okay, we was popping them cohorts out, and the L is lighten your load. So that's the first module. We would spend 2 weeks on that. So we still spend 2 weeks on that.
Okay.
However, the challenges helps when thinking about how can because of where society is right now and
Mhm.
women having a hard time making those big like ticket decisions because my coaching program is an investment.
Mhm.
I had to ask myself, my business coach had to ask me, what's the most impactful thing that women need to know and do before working with you? And
Yes.
that's when I said they have to lighten their load. So the challenge, we've had dozens of moms, 9 cohorts do my coaching program without the challenge.
Wow.
Okay, so that this challenge is me saying, how can I take this first module and give you an appetizer? Okay,
Yeah.
this is the you look at the menu before you go to the restaurant.
Yes.
Okay, so that it won't take you so long to order your food. And so I'm
Mhm.
excited about that because once we've completed it as a challenge, it's just gonna be the pre-work. I always will give you the opportunity to say, hey, before we start, go through these 4 videos. Before we start, go through this because I want you to be set up for success. But has all the ladies, have my clients been successful? Yeah, no one's asked for a refund yet.
Come on.
You're gonna be successful. Um, and I think God is just elevating me and showing me a deeper level of like how to make sure that there's a little less growing pains on
Yeah.
that success journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. You touched on something that I think we don't associate with wellness and health, which is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just go on and raise my hand because that's my my vice.
Oh my.
I used to be, and I thank God for delivering me from from this. Oh, I'm just a late night out. I'm working on that because
Mhm.
that is detrimental in so many ways.
Yeah.
And you bragged about the fact that your people who are in your program 100% on inc- talk about that
Yes.
and talk about why that is so important, health science major.
So important. So I have, and that's why God is so funny, because like I said, with the challenge, I was just like, oh, I don't want to do it for free, and I don't want to second guess my clients because I've given out the lanyard low part. And girl, we just be doing so much in that 8 weeks. Like, you can take the challenge 18 times and you need to go on and do the
You needed the
cohort,
kid.
because it's totally different. I mean, it's not the same. It's a different
Right.
experience. Come in the challenge, get that bread, but that's like one of Red Lobster eating the bread and leaving. Like, you're gonna get the
You're
bread
still
at
gonna be
the table,
hungry.
but you still need to get the rest of the entree and the dessert, right? And to
Right.
get your go bag. So sleep. So in my nutrition method, which is very interesting, I have a 5S nutrition method. So they're 5-letter S's. One of them is sleep. And so, like, nutrition, sleep, what you talking about? So the other 5, you have to do the cohort to find out what the other 4 of the
Uh-huh.
5S method is. But that's the way I teach women to look at nutrition for themselves, so that you're not looking at a meal plan and counting your asparagus the rest of your life. Okay.
Come
So
on.
sleep is one of them. And the thing about it is, your body does its best work when it's asleep. If you are not sleeping, your 7 body systems are not functioning properly. Your digestive system, your nervous system, your endocrine system, like, you have to sleep. And so we're talking about, that's when your body releases impurities. That's when your body kills the free radicals in your body that reproduce to cause
Reproduce.
cancer. Am I saying that, okay, if I sleep 8 hours a day, I'll never get cancer? No, but I would say it's going to help your body prepare yourself so that you will have a better function. I'm so tired, or not even just so tired. I'm so fatigued. I'm so irritable. Girl, you so sleepy.
Think
Okay.
about it.
And so don't come at me if your baby is 6 months. I got it. I get it. Right. We know there are seasons, but I'll sleep when they go to college is not acceptable. That's that
Talk
choosing
about it.
hard. Jesus took naps. Like, why do you think that you have to be everywhere and go to bed? And really, rest is a spiritual discipline.
Yes.
You think that you got to stay up to 2 a.m., wake up at 5 a.m. Like, what? How important do you think you really are? Like, God don't need you to do all that.
He
Maybe
don't.
if you slept, you would be productive enough to get more done in the time. But you're really taking twice as long to do something that takes half as long because you're tired.
Mhm.
And so we have a sleep routine. I hold them accountable to their sleep routine. I hold them accountable to their bedtime routine. And I'm on them. Like, I am giving you what you give your kids.
Ooh.
Okay. And so when you are caring for everybody else, who cares for you? Who checks to make sure you went to sleep? Who checks to make sure you took your supplements? Who checks and has, in my workbook, gives you your checklist for your appointments for the year? Like, all of these things are literally the whole picture for helping a mom be as healthy as her kids are, be as cared for as her kids are. So yeah, sleep is very, very important. I would say people say it's 80% diet or nutrition and 20% workouts. And in that nutrition, I would definitely say sleep is like a 20, because no matter how healthy you're eating, if you're not giving your body time to digest it and process it, you're more likely not going to have normal bowel movements. It's everything. It literally is a very big piece of nutrition that people do not think about. It's very, yeah.
That's so good. And you also talk about stress
Mm-hmm.
and how, again, it all is tied together, but stress. We
Yep.
talk about these generational illnesses and how
Yep.
they are related to stress.
Yep.
Even this mom pouch that we want to blame our kids for, but some of that cortisol that is stored up in your
Girl,
system.
that baby been out of there. That baby been
Come
out of
up.
there. And I'm telling you also, because I joke about losing the baby weight after my first born. And
Uh-huh.
then the second born, I lost her weight in the pandemic, 2020, 2021. By June 2021, I was gaining weight again. Like it was just like, what is this? Like she stopped nursing in May. By June, July, August, oh, you understand? We were back still sheltering in place, still wearing masks. I was like, you know what? Get this. Like as an extrovert, I was over it. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So I was literally definitely eating my feelings.
Mhm.
And 2022 is the year where we started the program. I hired a coach. I hired a personal trainer. I did everything I have my clients do, and I started to see change. But yeah, stress is the now you're giving more away, but stress is the second
Right.
S out of the five. Believe it or not, stress impacts your digestion. It impacts the way you process your food. It impacts your hormones. That S is the biggest thing we will tackle in the challenge. So we're tackling the stress there. But in my cohort and through the retreat, it really um, allows you to have more of the space to identify what's what is causing you stress. You work with me for 4 days and you're at your brink and you take some time to unplug from the world as far as like getting off social for a little bit and going in my platform and us talking, you'll start to see like, okay, I can see it clearly now. I can think through what are those triggers, what is stressing me out. But now it's like I went and got my engine checked. I know why the check engine light is on. What are you
Still
gonna
don't
do
know
about
what's going on. Yeah.
it? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So the challenge and that first, and just even getting a consultation call with me is like getting your engine light checked. But the cohort in the retreat is like actually getting the car serviced.
I love that. I
You
love that
know, if you
analogy.
don't do
That's
that,
good.
girl, this is my first time using it. It won't be my last. Okay.
Hey, that's
Um,
good.
yeah. So you got to, and you got to stop putting yourself last and expecting to continue to show up. That's why I do podcasts
Yeah.
because y'all watch stuff for 60 minutes, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, go through a carousel real quick. You can't get who is this person? Like, who is this woman for real? Is she real or is this AI? Because I don't know. I
Hey,
can't
we
tell.
don't know.
I can't tell. Right. And so you have to, these platforms are in, have been um you can't even put them out on there. I can't think of the word. Are priceless for
Priceless.
women who are trying to serve other women, in this day and age. I want you all to be able to hear from me in my heart as to why I do the work that I do, for who I do it for.
Absolutely. And even what you just said too, to the effect of really getting to see the real, because again, we are swiping, we are, and I tell people this all the time when people ask me about like social media and showing up on social media and just how our society, how these platforms have changed how we are wired, even how
Mm-hmm.
we consume, how we shop. It's no coincidence that major companies are, you look at how they're showing up in social media differently than they did 5 years ago, because
Right.
we are changing, we are evolving. And so being able to have some meat to the little sound bites that we get is
Yeah.
so invaluable
Yeah.
and priceless, like you said. um Gosh, we touched on so much. And one of the last things, and I had to look down at my questions because y'all, if you've been following the podcast, y'all know I don't never read no questions, but there was one question. In this season of your life, what does bold, audacious healing look like for you?
Hmm. In this season of my life. So if you're watching this in 2030, is March of 2025. Um, America is very ghetto, and I'm a mom of three kids. We'll use their 2025 ages. So they're all about to have birthdays. So they're about to be 5, about to be 10, about to be 18. I am about to be 40. My husband's about to be 45. So we have a milestone year ahead of us. And in this season, I'm embracing the boldness of like being, the boldness of just being, boldness of being precious, that I am an adult. I'm no longer looking for who else is going to help me, who going to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. At this point, it's me and Jesus. My mom is going to be 80 this year. Yeah, because I'll be 40. I'm realizing that this is my time. Like have to boldly be me. I have to boldly be firm with my decisions. I can't stutter step and procrastinate and have decision fatigue. I have to show up, and no one is going to um, save me or make the impact for the people God has called me to make the impact for, but me with the power of the Holy Spirit. So if I want that actual impact to happen the way God's called it to happen through me, I gotta get up in there and show up. And then being without expecting that there's automatically going to be some results. It's automatically going to be some win. Constantly going back to that same lesson that achievement is not always the fruit. Sometimes doing it is the fruit. Sometimes just obeying and just being obedient and showing up is the fruit, you know? And that's hard. I don't like it. I don't really know if that's my worldview. I don't really agree with that. It's coming out of my mouth, but me as precious as who I am, I feel like you do these things, you do it, and then you get tangible things. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but then you just think about some trees don't have fruit. Some trees have leaves. Like some trees have leaves. Some trees don't have fruit every single season. And I don't like that. I really don't. So I'm really having to embrace that and be bold with that. Um, if you follow me online, you'll see like 2024 was just crazy for me. I mean, it was crazy on the news on TV 3 times, did a Goldman Sachs in New York, spoke so many places, hosted my first retreat, was an MC at like this 300-person real estate conference. Like so many things happened in 2024. And then 2025 has started, and it's like, whoa, what is it? What you gonna do now, God? Like, what's gonna be? What's the next? What's the next achievement? Right. And now it's like, girl, sitting that achievement that just happened 4 weeks ago. You'll say the new year started, but you know. Right. So that's where I'm at right now, and I think that's an amazing question. As a counselor, I thank you for it. I don't know if I was ready to answer that. I should probably looked at that question ahead of time. I wasn't ready to answer that for all these people listening to me, but I'm glad to see me verbally process where I am, and that is the beauty of podcasts. That's the beauty of having a great host, because that actually pulls something out of me that I needed to hear for myself, and take that into the rest of this season of 40. This new this
milestone year.
Milestone year.
I love that. And that's so unique that all of you are experiencing these milestones at the same time, in this season. Like, it's no coincidence. Like, God, already had that planned out. And then so powerful of you to be a mommy wellness coach. As you said, you're not just doing it, you're getting wet with your clients as well. So you're leading the forge for all these amazing women that you're working with, but then also for your little tribe of women, because you're raising 3 little women. Lord,
a mess. Girl. I'm like, what is it? And it would be so. I tell my sister this all the time. I would be an amazing mommy wellness coach if I wasn't a mom. Golly, like I still gotta do that too every day.
But it's God is funny, girl.
I gotta do it every day, and that's
on purpose. He did it on purpose.
That's different.
I can imagine.
Like, it's different because they're dynamic. They are human, and so every day I do have to also be their mom. Yes. Right? So it's just about like get in there and do it. Get in there, not do it because that's like action. Get in there and be present. Like be there, And if I have to do things and be active, let them be with me. Let them see it. Let me, it is a lot. And I don't think I'm having a midlife crisis, but I am having this mid reality. Like I'm just having a reality check of like a mid childhood crisis for my 9-year-old. I mean, she's my firstborn, and I'm looking at her about to 10. I'm not ready. I'm not understanding how. Why are you not? Why are you got hair under your arms? Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying?
Girl, let's not. I'm right there with you. We have one the same.
Like, you was a baby. You still a baby. I still call her a toddler in my videos. She's not a toddler, girl. She's going to kindergarten. And this comes from a woman that don't want no more kids.
Right.
This like I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna have another baby because of this. No, but it is like one of those things. Like, man, I don't get how time is working like this, and I'm getting younger
Right.
and they're getting older. It's interesting.
Hello, talk about it. No, but you said it perfectly in expressing where you see yourself in this season, and that is just being.
Yeah,
And that is hard to sometimes do, especially when, like you said, you come off of um, a high of 2024 and then just thrust it. We're still fresh. And I just reminded myself of this yesterday. I'm like, I got all this stuff. I'm looking at my calendar across the room right now, and this all these rainbow colors of stuff for this month and going into April. And I'm still like, what more can I do? But wait a minute, you just need to stop. This is
yeah.
just the beginning of the year.
You sound like my business coach. She's like, girl, calm down. It's just the beginning of the year.
It's just March. I'm literally coaching myself through that yesterday. Like, okay, girl, you tripping.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to add nothing else, first of all, because I just added something else I'm looking at. Like,
Mm.
just being. It
Lighten the
is
load.
so, you said it perfectly. This season for you is being, but even in that being, there's still moving parts, there's still
Yeah.
evolution, and there's still defining of who you are, which to me makes you even more qualified to do what you do,
Thank you.
because you're tapping into so many different areas of women's lives by way of being mom, by way of being wife, daughter. You talk about your mother, who, and I wish we had more time, but we'll maybe another episode get a chance to talk about that dynamic of how your mother is being able to l- have her time,
Yeah.
as you so eloquently put it earlier, and what that looks like of her being able to go back home and living her best life. As you said,
Yes.
she's still learning from you. And so, so many beautiful things that we have talked about. I don't even know if I could wrap it up and put it a bow on it. But one thing that I do want to end with, if you had to talk to the Precious that started this journey all those years back in college and post college, what would you say to her? And then you talked about that picture. Like, what do you think she would say to you looking at you now? So we got two questions there.
Okay, we'll start with what she would say. She's like, "Are you crazy? Like, are you serious?" I feel like the what I do for a living, the speaking and the crowds and the networking and all that. She'd be like, "That's so cool. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Like, that's what
Yes.
I'm supposed to be doing." And it's
Right.
I know that for sure. Um, but like the working out and the all that, she'd be like, you're not about to pick that up. Like, there's no way you're about to like put that 325-pound hip thrust on your hips and hinge your hips up. Like, you're not about to squat 205. Like, she wouldn't believe that, honestly. Sometimes I don't believe that either. That's part of being, right? I am
Mhm.
that person. I'm not cosplaying. Because sometimes when you have a transformation, the last person to believe that you actually have transformed is you. Is that a tear? Sometimes you still think I'm still the girl that if I eat this cookie, something's gonna happen. That's not all. That's a bad example because I still eat cookies. But I'm still the girl that if I do such and such, I'm gonna lose. I have to work so hard to keep up so I can keep becoming. It's like, no,
Mhm.
I am. I'm here. This is what I am. I'm just gonna keep getting better, right? But I
Yes.
am her. Period. I am her. And she would be. I think she would think that was so cool. If I was to look back, I would definitely say like just enjoy life a lot. Um, that you're good enough here.
Mhm.
Like you're good enough. You don't have to. We're not fixing you. We're just giving you a chance to do things better, giving you a chance to see life from a different vantage point, giving you a chance to walk through life a little bit lighter. But we're not fixing you. You aren't broken. And so I don't look at this being who I am now. I don't look at that girl as broken. I don't look at her as how could she have let herself. No, I look back fondly at that girl, and I think that while I was there, I looked fondly upon myself, but I still did have a sense of like when I get to this place, I'll be better. Like I'll be more
Mhm.
valuable. And
Mhm.
now that I'm here, I realized I was valuable the whole time, and she was great and loved, always treated people well. Got a little mouth. A little spicy. So there are probably some people somewhere in the ether that don't like me. But overall, I try to treat people nicely. And yeah, so I would definitely tell her like you're good. Like you don't have you're not on a self improvement and you're not on a self help journey. You're literally just giving yourself a better chance at living this thing out with the Lord. And I think that's something I need to continue to say to myself. Like my business is just going to have more impact. It's not making me better. It's not
Right.
making me more worthy. Like I'm just going to impact more people and
Absolutely.
give God more glory and be more obedient and be more like Him. But I'm not going to be more valuable to God when I do whatever
A
else.
B C D.
Right.
That's so good. And then lastly, because we have covered a multitude of topics,
Girl, you got to
what
split
is
this into 2 episodes.
look, and we'll probably do part one and part
Yeah.
two. Um, what is the one message that you want to leave with women who are listening, who are watching this episode? What is the one thing that you would leave with them, and what message do you want them to carry forward
Yeah.
from this episode?
Oh, so I'm going to say two. There's the thing I tell everybody whenever you hear me speak is that you're valuable. You are a mother, you are a wife, you are a daughter, you may be a rich auntie, you are an employee or a business owner. You have a lot of hats, but most importantly, you are a daughter of God. And so for those roles that you carry and those people that love you, if you love them, if you value them, you've got to take care of one of their most prized possessions. So if I'm talking to moms, it's if you love your children, take care of her mother. If I'm talking to wives, if you love your husband, take care of his wife and let him take care of his wife, right? If you love your mother or your father, take care of their daughter. Stop thinking that you have to be last in order to serve and do the things that God has called you to do. You don't. I need you to put yourself on your to-do list. Now, for the Audacity Heal community, y'all are awesome. You're awesome because you already are tuned into someone who has a passion for seeing women move from where they are to where they could be. And so I just want you to trust God. Trust Him that He already knows where or what you're capable of. And a prayer that I want you to pray over you and pray to God is that God, help me see myself the way you see me. Help me see my future the way you see me. Once you see yourself and your future the way God sees it, it's gonna be difficult to rest and not rest. It's gonna be difficult to settle where you are, and you will get more audacity. You will get more boldness. You will be like, I've already seen. Like Dr. King said, I've seen the mountaintop, which I think he quoted from in the word. Like I've seen the mountaintop. Like pray for God to open your eyes to see yourself and your life the way He does, so you can stop settling for less.
That couldn't have said it no better. That has always been a constant prayer of my mine, because again, we're all still trying to be all that we're supposed to be, and so
Mhm.
that is a daily prayer. That's why my eyes turn up, because I was like, "Don't you be telling them my prayer?" But that is my heart, that I would always be reminded of how God sees me,
Mhm.
because it is easy, especially with these devices. We're looking at
Yeah.
everybody else's life, and sometimes, you're doing the things and you're not seeing the results. As you said, we want to see the fruit. And sometimes that's hard to subscribe to the idea that I'm not going to get something for doing something.
Exactly.
Gym for 5 weeks and I've only lost 1 pound.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not about you.
Mhm.
And even that prayer of asking him to show you the way that he sees you, it's still not even about you. Because
Right.
once you get that revelation of how he sees you, it it gives you the validation, but then it lights a fire in you that you will carry out this mission that is
Mhm.
far bigger than you.
Yeah.
And so I thank you for that being what you leave the Audacity to Heal podcast listeners, our audience, those that are now fans of yours, because they're coming by the droves. Look, me included, I'm gonna be up in there in that challenge some way, somehow, if not the cohort,
Yeah.
because we need community.
Yeah.
We need a cloud of witnesses. We need wise
Yes.
counsel. And when you are trying to break things that have never been broken, sometimes those that are in proximity are still struggling with that, and you need somebody that has gone ahead and
Yeah.
already forged a way. And so I am so grateful for this time that you have given me, our audience, to share your heart, to share your story, to share the incredible things that you're doing. I'm locked in. I know that my audience will be locked in whatever way that they need to be, because she's meeting y'all wherever you are. Doesn't matter if you're already lifting, what did she say, 250 hip thrusts?
Oh,
That is not go.
the hip thrust is 325, but
325.
the squat is 205.
Enough said. She's lifting real weights, and she's going to help you lift those weights that you are dealing with. So I
Yeah.
thank you, Audacity to Heal podcast listeners. We love you and hope you come back for the next episode. Love you and goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in today to the Audacity to Heal podcast. I hope this episode has inspired you and ignited something within you. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform. And if you know somebody who could truly benefit from hearing this episode, share it with them. Until next time, keep embracing your journey and remember, you have the audacity to heal.